um, the art industry,
Hmm.
but I'm thinking about getting back into it, and I have not created um, a portfolio yet.
Hmm.
How would you suggest I go about creating a portfolio?
There's only one thing to do that's difficult, and then there's everything else that's easy. Okay. And you know what everyone loves to do? All of the easy stuff and ignore the only thing that matters. The only thing that matters is selling the work. Do you have work to sell yet or no work to sell?
Yes, I have. I have about 55 pieces.
55 pieces. Well, you're cooking with gas. You're ready to go. You already have a portfolio. You have absolutely everything you need. You need to start selling it. Nothing else
Okay.
matters. Literally nothing else matters. Everyone loves to focus on everything but the stuff that matters. That's the only stuff. So if you don't have a website,
Okay.
if you don't have a website presence, I would do a local fair show and or run a live art show. I'm going to send you a guide on how to do that. I mean, what type of? You said you haven't done it in a while. Did you sell a bunch of art in the past and then you kind of walked away from it and you're back? You're back at it now.
Um, well, I finally retired. I was in a motor vehicle accident and I was T-boned and I
I'm
had to go
sorry.
through a lot of rehab. I couldn't walk and had to learn how to walk and recently had spine surgery and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So
You've been in it.
um, and my right arm was crushed, and so they had to uh, work on that. But I'm back, and I can draw and I can paint. So
Awesome. Welcome back.
um, I'm building my confidence back up. But I do have a body of work, but it's old. It's I haven't painted in about 5 years.
Got it. Got it. Got it. Well, that's okay. You know, the sort of the threshold to like understand what where you're at is if you were selling your art back in the day and it was selling okay, then you know you have a product the market wants. You just have to do the marketing and get it in front of people, right? Or if you've never sold it to strangers, to people not named mom, dad, brother, sister, family, friends, then that's sort of a different problem to solve. Do we done that? We sold to strangers in the past?
Yes, I have.
Mm-hmm.
Not relatives, but absolute strangers.
V-
And a few pieces have shown in galleries.
Yeah, yeah. So you just need to get your art up on a website and start marketing. We can definitely help you with that, if you'd like.
Okay.
Yeah, I would. What I would do is I would go and see a demo. A demo is kind of like our test driving the car. It's like an hour Zoom session with somebody on our outreach team that walks you through all the bells, all the whistles, all the marketing, all the behind the scenes stuff, everything that we do from top to bottom. But at a macro, you need to get your art up on a website and you need to start marketing. That's it.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks, Edie. We'll have somebody reach out. And thanks for going first. I appreciate you, Edie. That was very brave. That was very, very brave. And welcome back after that accident and everything else. I'm glad to hear you're on the mend. Um, but who else? We got a shy bunch here. And Anthony, I'm excited to see you. You were emailing saying you were having issues with the link, and now you're up, ready to roll. Makes me happy. Um, yeah. So yeah, super shy for a Wednesday. Don't worry, I will poke and prod. Deco, Alex. Okay. Oh, there we go. There we go. Terry, I appreciate it. Go ahead, Terry. Then I'm coming for the rest of you. So let's get some questions going.
All right, so I've been an aspiring photographer for since 2014,
Okay.
and I have several hundred photographs, but I've never sold anything.
Okay.
I always get complimented on what I sell, but how do I know if I'm good
Now what
enough
you
to actually
on
make it?
on what you shoot, not what you sell, right? Because you haven't sold any. How many? Let me
Right, I
ask.
haven't showed anything, but I've shot, and I have a library
Mm-hmm.
with several hundred photographs.
And you show them, and everyone's like, "Ooh, you got to sell these things. They're awesome, right?" You get a lot of compliments.
Yes.
The problem, Terry, is if I came to your house right now, that's me knocking on the door, and I picked you up and I drove you down to the ATM machine. There's no button on the ATM machine that says your work is awesome, right? Or you should sell these. So we got to fix that. Step one, you need to order prints. You probably don't have any prints of any of them, right? You've just been showing off 2D images. You need to
Mostly, I do have a few that I have on my wall.
Yeah. So you need to have the real product to show because no one sells 2D images. That's always a huge problem with photographers. You think like everyone else has your powers of visualization. Us normal art buyers don't. We need to see the real thing that goes on the real wall. It's got structure to it. It's something that I can, lust after. And what I would do is because you've never gotten the work in front of strangers and you never tried to sell it, the quickest way to do it is the good old fashioned art show, fair, craft, farmers market, brewery, whatever. Get a table, get enough inventory to sell, go get in the booth and see how you do. Have a bunch of conversations with strangers. That's the easiest way to do it. The digital equivalent, okay, if you have a decent following on social media, is using this thing and running a live art show like I was talking about in the recordings. So I don't know which one of those two camps you fall into, that you're more comfortable doing, but you have to attempt to sell the work to strangers so that you know you have a product that the market wants, right?
I'm interested in both. My Instagram following, I don't have a lot. I only have 2,500 people.
That's still pretty. That's still plenty strong enough. Like that's totally plenty strong enough. I mean, one of the things that I can do is that I'm going to send you guys, okay, is on this page, and this is the thing I'm going to send you after. On here it says how to run live art shows, a quick start guide, right? And on this whole thing, I give you all the reasons why they are like literally the greatest thing since sliced bread. And I'm not kidding when I say that's not hyperbole. I find these things to be absolutely insane, amazing. I show you real artists, the number of pieces they've sold. There's links to their shows. You can Google their names if you want to go find the shows yourself. And you see what's possible. And you see, here's Rob.
I just want to give everyone a little hoorah.
And he's just like, I was nervous, the same as everyone else is. And so why are these so effective? Anyway, I go through the whole thing, okay? And then down here at the bottom, send me the guide, okay? And not only have I made you a step-by-step guide, but the equipment you need, inventory and pricing, how to get paid, where to stream the show, the actual show. You've never gone live before? Zero problems, okay? I've got a video on how to go live on Facebook. On your phone. I've got a video for how to go live on Instagram. I literally walk you through the entire thing. So that'll be in what I send you after the fact, and you can follow that. But I like the commitment of putting your money down for like a booth or, a table at a brewery or a farmer's market or a local art show, because then you're committed, right? Then you're not just talking about it. Then it's like, okay, Terry, that booth fee is paid or whatever. It's $100, $200. You're going down there. You better have that work printed. You better be ready to go, right? Because you're committed to doing it, because you got to do it. Because aspiring since 2014, you've been doing a lot of aspiring. I want you to get doing some selling, right?
Okay.
Yeah. And let me know how it goes. And if it's online, I want to see it. Send it to me.
You want to see what
the live art show if you run it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And if you want, you can put your Instagram handle in the chat, and some people will look at it and tell you what you think if you like.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
I can do that.
Yeah. I mean, you got 2,500 people on there already, which is awesome. Irina's asking in the chat if Etsy's a thing from the past. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't necessarily call it a thing from the past or not a thing from the past. I mean, it's still somewhat effective for some people to sell, not massively really effective for anybody aside from like a very, very small handful of people. But the reason Etsy was in the news, they raised their fees 30%. And I'll just show it because I swear I've gotten more emails about this in the last couple of days than I could even begin to tell you. Thousands of Etsy sellers strike over the company's fee and policy changes. They basically raised their transaction fees 30%. It's making me. I'll do it later. Yeah, they raised them 30% increase, and then also I guess if you make more than $10,000 a year on Etsy, they charge you a mandatory 12% fee for marketing, and they run ads, and you don't have any option on it. But anyway, the point is the point why the Etsy thing gets me all fired up is I don't care if it's Etsy, or if 2 months ago it was COVID, or if before that it was Instagram, and you gave a bunch of money for Instagram, for followers, and now when you post, none of your followers even see the doggone thing, right? Or your account got banned, and there was nothing you can do about it. Or before that, if something happened with Facebook, everyone used to see my posts, and now no one sees my post. Before that, an algorithm on the marketplace you were on, you used to be on page 1, now you're on page 63. The larger point is, it infuriates me, these situations, because if you've been in this business for any period of time, and by which I mean the digital landscape, there's things that you own and there's things that you rent, okay? The only thing that matters is what you own, and what you own is a website and an email list. Everything else is rented and it can be taken away from you at any point in time for any reason, right? The rules can be changed. For all those poor people that are on Etsy right now and are having a protest, they're having a protest right before Mother's Day. One of the biggest wall art and craft fair sales times ever, and now they're shutting their stores off. Like, heartbreaking, I tell you, really is. So, anyway, I like to rant about that. But yeah, I would otherwise call Etsy somewhat a thing of the past. It's like none of the marketplaces work because you're instantaneously lost in a sea of like millions and millions of people all trying to do the exact same thing that you're trying to do. And of course it doesn't work for most. Most have the same discovery problem that you have without being on a marketplace. And so, you ask yourself whether or not it's worth it. But who else, guys? Questions? Again, we got just a really, really shy bunch. So again, I'm going to have to pick on the ones that are on the camera, which is, I know it's kind of torturous. There we go, John. I appreciate it. Dara, I was going to pick on you. Shannon, I was going to pick on you, Steve. But John has spared you guys all that. Okay. Thank you for stepping up, John.
So I don't know if this is coming on from the statements you just made. What is the baseline of number of followers that you should have on Instagram or YouTube to where you actually become viable? Unless, of course, the algorithms and things cut you off.
Yeah, I would say that there's no real magic number per se, because not all followers are created equal, right? And I use the example, not only are not all followers created equal, but not all subject matter materials are equal, and not like the way that they've all gotten the followers. And the example that I always use, which just infuriates me as well as members of my team, as well as we have somebody that has 1.4 million Instagram followers, okay? And we have a gal that has 5,000 Instagram followers. She outsells him 50 to 1. 50 to 1. How do you reconcile that, right? Like, and it just goes to, there are not all followers are equal, and I see that time and time again. That's number one. Number two, for an artist, for a photographer working today, Instagram, to a lesser extent Facebook, by all means Instagram is more important, there exists a minimum credibility barrier, okay? And the minimum credibility barrier, it comes in three ways. One, do you understand the design elements of what Instagram requires? Do you have a proper profile photo? Do you have a proper bio? Are you using Instagram story highlights? Does it overall look credible, right? Do you look like somebody that understands the platform, that's posting on a regular basis and going somewhere? That's number one. Number two, you need to have a post makeup that will enhance your ability to sell and not decrease your ability to sell. And I could go into that in detail. I believe that between those three things, one, having a minimum number of followers, two, having the design elements sorted, three, having the right post makeup constitutes a minimum credibility barrier. And the way that it works in your guys' world is like, when you see a product and you're like, ooh, I'm really interested in that product looks super fascinating, and then you go onto Amazon and you check the reviews on it. That's the credit check for the product in today's day and age when we go on Amazon and we read the reviews. For artists, however they get sucked into your ecosystem, their inevitable first thing to do is go and follow you on Instagram. And when they come to Instagram and you have a stupid looking profile with an out of focus profile photo with nothing but 2D image after 2D image after 2D image on your timeline. There's no story highlights. You're not using the stories. I believe that you don't meet the minimum credibility barrier. And is it going to kill every sale? No, it's not going to kill every sale, but it's going to hurt you. It's going to hurt you because that's sort of like, an easy way to follow somebody and stay connected. And it's like really, really important. And, when I was showing, were you on the whole presentation? Were you there when I was showing like the
no, but I've seen it before.
But you've seen it before. So even when you so there's two reports per year that come out. There's this one by Art Basel and UBS Global, and there's another one by this like London insurance group called the Hiscox Group. And between those two reports, like having looked at those things year over year over year, even the artists, they're really only talking about pieces of art that sell for like over 50, 60, 70, 100,000, whatever. All of those buyers that they survey are like, how important was Instagram in your buying decision? And like over the years, it's just been more and more and more and more and more and more and more important. So it's really important. It's important at the very highest end of the scale and the lowest. So you could make sales with 50 people on there. You could do better with 5,000. There's no magic number that'll tell you when you're going to be viable versus not viable, right? But like I said, step one, minimum credibility barrier. Step two, constantly work on being able to generate the followers so that you can grow and grow and grow, right? And that's sort of how we approach it and look at it.
Thank you.
Yeah. It's infuriating too, because all I want to be able to do is be like, I know what the formula is. This is it, right? Do this. If you have this number, it'll generate this amount of income. And then, You know, I go to the 1.3 million followers versus the 5,000 followers. Like, how the hell do you reconcile that? You can't. And the reality is that there's no magical roadmap for this business because the products are just so different. I know it's like mostly wall art, right? But the products are just so different in the emotional connection and the subject material and the individual advantages, disadvantages that you have depending on where you are, your region, and everything else. It's like, it's just folly to compare yourself to somebody else and think that you're going to have like the same roadmap. And anyone that tells you they have a roadmap or magical formula is so full of it, I can't even begin to tell you. I've been doing this long enough now that I've seen just such a variance in it all. But yeah, I get fired up on that. Sorry, but you got a good background. You're ready to run a live art show. If all that stuff is yours on the wall, all we got to do is take everything down, turn that camera on, and it's go time, John. It's go time. Steve, you're up next. Go ahead, Steve.
Hi, Patrick.
Hey.
Staying on the whole Instagram topic of conversation, what if you don't have an Instagram account, at all?
Yep.
Does Art Storefronts help you do all that?
Yes.
All that set up?
Yeah. So we sort of landed, and this will just help explain it contextually. The short answer is yes. But right, and what we realized a number of years ago is that no artists have website problems. Not a single solitary person on here has a website problem. Everyone has a marketing and attention problem. Okay, well, how do you solve that? You need to have the best DIY education on how to do all these various different things, and then you also need to have an in-house marketing agency that will do it for people. And so that's what we have. And we say, Steve, do you want to do this yourself? We'll teach you. Here's how it goes. Here's what we call them playbooks, but they're essentially just digital courses, how you go through it. And then we have workshops just like this on how to grow your Instagram profile and what it looks like. That's if you want to do DIY. And then we also have all the way where you can pay us to do the absolute entire thing. Set it up, start it from scratch, do all of the design work, help you grow the followers, and you can pay to have part of it done. You can do it all, and you're saying anything in between. And 80% of our customers still have full-time jobs. They still have full-time jobs, or they're, working service-based photographers and they're trying to grow their fine art portfolio. So a lot of times we have people that are like, look, I don't have the damn bandwidth and the time to do it. I will be willing to pay you. Just get it done so I can get up, running, and ready. And so we have a whole different combination of people that sometimes do that, sometimes don't do it. Our job is to say, hey, you're going to climb Mount Everest, right? Here is the best trail map that exists. Along the way, we have these little stores where you can go in and buy things, all the way to here's Tenzing Norgay, your Sherpa. He's gonna walk you all the way up the hill. So we got all of it in between, right? But you still have to climb the mountain.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
But I do think you get one, Steve. It's important. It really is important. In terms of like a visual platform that helps sell art and photography, like if we were all fishermen, we would take the boat to where the fish are, right? The fish are on Instagram. That's just how it goes in this world.
Okay.
Yeah. So you got to do it. You got to do it.
All right.
And I got a really good question from Derek. I really like this question, and I want to explain it in an interesting way. I'm going to unmute you, Derek. I don't know if you want to talk or not, but I'm going to unmute you just in case you have a follow up. And Derek's point was, why are Instagram stories so necessary, right? They're so ephemeral because they disappear in 24 hours unless you save them as story highlights, right? And personally, he never clicks on them. That's the inception of this whole thing, Derek. So Instagram is not just one social network. It's a number of different social networks rolled into one. There are certain people whose behavior is just like yours, okay, that only scroll up and down in the feed. You don't even look at the stories. You can't be bothered by the stories. You don't even ever want to see them. There's some people, okay, members of my team even, that's all they do. They don't even look at the feed ever. 100% of their behavior, Instagram to them is just stories and nothing else. That's what they look at all day long. They don't even look at anything else. And then for some, it's reels. And then some use all three. And so when you contemplate it and when you think about the thing is those multiple different networks all built into one, you realize that you have to be on all of them because that's the only way you get the full level of exposure.
I understand what you're saying. It just sounds so differentiated and almost schizoid. I'd like to do. I know this sounds stupid, but I'd like to do one thing and do it really well.
Yeah.
And to develop stories while also posting pictures and researching the hashtags that go with them and stuff like that. It just sounds so varied and different. It's I don't know. I mean, I totally understand what you're saying, and I have complete trust in what you're saying. It's just a little frustrating to have to master those different, very different types of presentations.
Oh, absolutely. And better still, I mean, I'm just beginning to frustrate you, Derek. Early on, all of it is frustrating. All of it is stressful. All of it is a pain in the ass. Not only do you have to understand Instagram, I have to teach you how to capture emails, and then I have to teach you how to email those emails, and then I need to teach you the proper mechanics of a sale, how to tease a sale, how to announce a sale, what to do during, how to run a live art show during your sale, how to extend a sale. The first year learning all this stuff sucks. It sucks straight up. And, I was running a workshop earlier because one of the Mother's Day is a huge art selling holiday. I could go into that levels. Most people thinks it's not. They're out to lunch on that. It's huge. And I had to go teach an entire workshop. And I had multiple of my customers in there going, I have just been through this whole thing. And, these are people that have just been with us for a year. And they're like, I'm about to have a nervous breakdown. This is so stressful. There are so many moving pieces and so much technology. And it's so funny because all the rest of my customers are chiming in going, that's exactly how I felt. That's exactly how I felt in the beginning. That's exactly how I feel now. And, deep down, there's not a single solitary person, Derek, on this call that wants to do the marketing or wants to do the business side. Your guy's deepest, darkest desire is just to create the thing and have it be sold and have it pay all your bills. That is not a business. That is a hobby. It doesn't exist, right? So a different way to think about it is like, whatever you want to do least is what has the potential to grow the business most. And that ends up being so incredibly true. So you have a ton of that stuff to learn. If you don't like the intricacies of one thing, contemplate it like golf. Instagram is golf. And unfortunately, you have to have a couple of different clubs in the bag to play the game. And stories and reels and the posts are all levels of it. But you don't have to do all of it overnight, right? You don't have to do it all overnight. It takes some time.
I get what you're saying. I totally do. And I appreciate it. I really do. I know you're right. Let me ask you something more fundamental about IG, because I've sold decent amount through galleries and through online promotion in the past. And I apologize for not having a picture on. I'm just not really
it's all good.
suitable for presentation at the moment.
No, don't worry.
And I've been on Instagram for almost 2 years now, and I meticulously research each photograph's applicable hashtags, and I use all 30, and I've only grown to 150 followers in 2 years, and it's really pathetic compared to really all my friends and other people that I follow, and it's sort of like I just don't get how to build a following.
Yep, that's why we exist. We teach you how to do all of it. I can guarantee that, one, your profile doesn't meet the minimum credibility test. 2, hashtags are okay. They can be mildly helpful, but you should not spend more than a couple of minutes here or there on hashtags. There are some techniques and some tricks and some tips that help you grow faster. We do a lot of things centering around print giveaways that help very early on. The post makeup and how you break it up is very important. I'm sure if I went to your profile right now, there would just be 2D image after 2D image after 2D image. You wouldn't have things on walls. You wouldn't have things in your hand. There's not any videos. Like I said, you don't have any story highlights. Your bio is probably boring. I think what you're not doing is you're not looking at the people that have a ton of followers and you're saying, why doesn't my profile look like theirs? Why doesn't my post makeup look like theirs? And if you started that way, you'd be in a much better place instead of doing what you've been doing.
I appreciate the advice. I really do.
Yeah, I mean, it's annoying to hear, but you gotta
it's not
switch
annoying.
gears.
You're saying you're telling me what I need to know.
Yes.
And I really didn't know that, so I really do appreciate it.
Yeah, especially with the 2D image thing, like the 2D image is just such an important part of it, right? And like, the easiest way to think about it, because so many artists and photographers screw up on this. Let's take it out of art. If I hired you, Derek, to work for me, selling knives door to door, okay? When you knocked on the doors, what would you have in your hand?
Well, I assume a knife.
You would have the
But-
knife. You would definitely
well-
not knock on the door and have a picture of the knife, because you
Yeah,
would have
a
to be the
picture of
best
the
damn.
knife.
You would
I'm
have to be the
sorry.
best damn salesman in the history of salesmen. Okay, to pull that off. And yet, what you're doing on your profile, all of you guys probably too much, is just showing me 2D image after 2D image after 2D image, essentially JPEG after JPEG after JPEG after JPEG. You don't sell JPEGs. No one buys JPEGs. We buy, like I said, the real thing that goes on the real wall that has some depth and structure, and you can see me holding it and I'm talking about it, and no one ever does that. This is knocking on the door with the knives. What you're doing is just 2D image, like buy my sunflower photo. And the problem is, notwithstanding the fact that you don't sell JPEGs, is like on every single solitary social network, okay, all of us are bombarded with 2D image after 2D image after 2D image, and every news story, everything, every post, everywhere. We're blind to it. We're blind to it. We're desensitized to it just by exposure. So when you start switching it up and showing things on walls and showing videos and showing your process, instantaneously, the game changes.
I see.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I was always under the impression that one had to maintain a sort of a consistent presentation. And so 2D, to keep it 2D was to keep it consistent. But I understand what you're saying.
Yep, it is your artist brain overthinking things. Which, trust me, you're not the first one I've seen that. Don't worry, it's part and parcel of it. But you gotta change it up, and don't go so long with only 250 followers. Watch how quickly it'll change if you mix it up.
Thanks, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks, sir. That was a good question. Okay, Jan, you're up next. Go ahead, Jan.
Oh, there we go.
Yep.
Yeah. So speaking of JPEGs, Patrick, I think what do you feel about selling digital downloads of the work? How versus prints and originals?
Yeah, I mean, what are they using them for, right? Like, I don't really fully understand the digital downloads, notwithstanding NFTs, and we can get into NFTs, but I want to get into NFTs. If they're getting a digital download, does that mean they're printing it on their own, right? Like, they're going to go and get a wall print made, or, it's funny because one of my customers, Kim's on here, and she's like, she just left a comment and she's like, I sold a commission where all the guy wanted to use was a JPEG and an avatar, right? So if that's the case, that's awesome. I'm all for it. But if there's going to be prints, why wouldn't you do it for them? Like, trust me, they want you to do it for them. Nobody wants to go and take a JPEG and go to the local printer and do it all like that. That's a huge pain in the butt and a waste of time. They would rather you be the subject matter expert and do that for them, right? I mean, that's number one. Number two, if situations arrive where, like, somebody's doing a calendar, right? Or somebody's doing a website and they want your images, I think those are great situations to potentially sell your images. But I don't see the payments in those situations being very big. That's sort of been my experience. Oh, did you muted again, Jen? Hold on, I'll mute you again. Go ahead.
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate that. Now, and NFTs is something else altogether that I'd like to get into a little bit more. I went through the process of creating a few of those, but that's the same thing as art. It's just you create an NFT and you put it into one of those major sites, OpenSea or whatever, and then it just disappears in the ether of NFT junk.
Yep.
So
because it's not the problem. You haven't fixed the problem, right? The problem is the actual marketing, right? Like, the thing that I love about NFTs, and I don't really want to get into a deep conversation with NFTs because one, do you know how many people on this? Do you know how many people on this Zoom chat hold crypto or active crypto investors right now? It is a very, very small number out of the 35 people that are on here that are left. Do you know how many out of 35 have a MetaMask wallet? I'll bet you it's zero.
One.
Or okay, yeah, you are even equipped. To be able to go and buy it right now, let alone even understand the mechanics of an NFT. So, the problem is you need attention. You need to fix the marketing problem. It's the only problem. And you know what everyone runs around and does? Fixes all the problems that are easy. And guess what? They're all easy to do, except the only one, which is fix the marketing problem, which leads to sales. It's crazy how it all works, but yeah. Thanks, Jen. Okay. Yeah, Christina's asking about Pinterest. I've never seen a single solitary artist ever generate any sales from Pinterest whatsoever. So I would not waste even a second on Pinterest. I don't think it works in the slightest at all. I mean, it's cool. Don't get me wrong. I like it for discovery, but other than that, I wouldn't do it. Betsy Lewis is saying, everyone talks about telling your stories, and she says she's quite old, not attractive or photogenic, and I'm a very private person who never talks to anyone except about my painting. Yeah, you got to get over all that, Betsy. You really do. Somebody's got to tell the story, and I wouldn't worry about being old. We had somebody sign up. This is just why I love what you guys do, and I think it's so incredible. We had somebody sign up this week that was in their 90s, right? That just turned 90, actually. And it was on one of these Zoom calls. And the 90-year-old guy, his name is Gordy. And I actually am not sure that he should have signed up, okay, because he is legitimately 90, and I don't know if he wants to learn all the technology, but he did it anyway, so we'll see how it goes. We might end up having to give him his money back, because if he's just, too old to do the technology stuff, he's too old to do the technology stuff. But on the call, he's like talking and just being hilarious. And then also on that same call, I unmute another guy, and he goes, tell that youngster Gordy to get in gear. And the other guy was 94. Still at it, still going, still selling. And I look at that and it's like, it just amazes me about this vocation that you guys have, right? Like, and how much time you have left. Like, don't get me wrong, I like marketing, okay? I enjoy it. I generally think I'm pretty good at it. But when I'm done, I am retiring, okay? I'm not trying to market into my 90s. I'm going to try to enjoy whatever I have left in life. And for you guys, it's not something that ever stops. You don't ever turn this thing off. You don't ever want to stop creating. And as such, you don't ever want to stop selling. And so what purpose and what fulfillment? And it's like you sit there and you look and you contemplate about wherever you are now, and you see these people in your 90s, and it's like, God willing, you have that time left on earth. You've got another 30 or 40 years of this thing, right? Or another 20 years, depending on where you are. And you contemplate that. And it's like, it gives you the perspective of understanding how important it is to get that whole pyramid that I presented up top correctly, right? Because you've got years and years and years to get this right and have this going correctly. And let me tell you, if you do it correctly, okay, the first 2 to 3 to 4 years, okay, when you're doing the marketing, it sucks. It's a grind. You're working super hard at it. Yes, you're getting a little bit better, but you're doing all the frustrating things that takes you a while to get going, okay? And after you do, years 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 is when things really start humming. Okay, contemplate how many art selling years you have left in your life. You obviously are on this webinar. You obviously have taken this stuff seriously, that you really want to do it and that you're all fired up about it. So why wouldn't you do it correctly? And why wouldn't you put yourself in a position where the business is actually growing? Okay. The only way to do it is what I'm advocating. And don't take it as a sales pitch. Okay. I don't care if you ever sign up with us or if we're the right home for you, but you have to sell direct. Okay. You have to do your own marketing. You have to own your own intention, which is an email list. And if you're not doing that and growing that year after year after year, you are working on the wrong things, because you're building your business in rented land, right? You're like all these Etsy people that are having to close their stores this week. They relied on something that's unreliable because you don't control the rules. You wouldn't build a castle on rented land, so don't build your art business on rented land. You want to build it with us, we can help you. You don't want to build it with us, you got to get the business model right. It's the only thing that's going to change the game. And the galleries are not a viable way to build a business. A gallery is a tenant-farmer relationship. A 50-50 revenue split where you don't understand who's purchasing your work is no way to build a business. It's just not. But I get fired up about that too. But what else, guys? Questions? Oh, I'm going back into grid mode. That means Everett, you're on my list. David, you're on my list. Dara. Deco, you too. You too. I need one of you to step up. I'm in a Q&A mode right now. Oh, wow. Just silence, huh? All right. All right. You guys just want to listen. That's okay. It's okay. I'm not going to take it personally. But if you guys do have questions, you can let me know. And yes, Derek, we're going to send you a replay to the thing. I think we stopped sending the Q&A. You probably want the Q&A as much as you want the presentation. So we sort of go back and forth on what's the... what's the more important segment or session. It's interesting. We as a business never made any of these. Okay, never made any videos at all prior to COVID, and then COVID hit, and we're like, okay, we got to get in gear. We got to start ratcheting down. Like, it's serious times. We got to do everything we can to survive here. And so we started making videos internally for our customers. We'd like organize a session on a topic and put everybody inside of it, and then go through the whole thing from start to finish, right? And what's so interesting, what we found is like, and this goes back to me picking on you guys for questions. There's such a lack of this content out there on the internet, meaning like real artists, real photographers talking about what they're struggling with, getting the answers and going through it, that it becomes really, really fascinating to listen. And even now on office hours sessions, so we call them office hours for the internal ones, it's just a Zoom call like this. We'll have people that'll stay on sometimes an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours, just listening, because it's just so valuable to hear from your peers that are going through the exact same thing that you are and what they're struggling with and what are the best ways to figure it out, right? Like I had a guy that came on like 10 of these things, maybe 12 of these things, and he signed up this week and he sent me an email literally today. Let me see if I can pull it up because I think it's so funny. How could I show this? I don't want to expose him. But he goes, "Hey Patrick, now that I'm an insider," he signed up, "I no longer receive the emails with the invites to the outside Zoom calls, what you guys are on now. I'd still like to attend these when I can. Is there a way I can get back on the list?" And it's like, they just find them really, really valuable. And that's just how it goes. It's just super, super interesting. So anyway, that's what I've got. If there's any other questions, I'd love to hear you guys jump in and see what's going on. Alex, I find your background to be very fascinating. I don't know what's going on with that ceiling, but it seems like are you in like a mall or something? Yeah, it looks like a mall or something. It's very, very fascinating. Okay, so what I'm going to do, of course, I'm going to send you guys the replay to this as soon as it's done. For anyone else that is interested in what we do at Art Storefronts, we do the demo process. It's a 1-hour Zoom session that walks you through all our bells, all our whistles, everything we do, all the marketing support, all the everything, all the pricing, all the plans, all the stuff that I don't know. And it's awesome. And don't worry, Spencer, I'll get you in just a second. So, if you guys are brand new, and you just found out about us like this last week or the last couple of days, don't worry about it. We're not going anywhere. But if you came on the call and you're like, I want to know whether or not these guys know what the hell they're talking about, and we've satisfied that bar, definitely go get a demo, see whether or not it's something that can help you out. If you like it, great. If not, they will never bother you again. And you should subscribe to my podcast too, which is really good. It's in the chat right there. And I give away all the latest and greatest, or on YouTube too. YouTube's pretty awesome too. But Spencer, you're up next.
Unmute. There we go. So I've been a working photographer for 18 or 19 years.
Define it in terms of the service. What side of the service are you in?
I started as a photojournalist, and it has sort of transformed from there into other things. Like I do commercial product photography and some magazine stuff and headshots and big events like 10,000 people conferences and stuff like that.
Awesome.
So I've made a living doing this. But I have this huge body of work I've never showed to anyone.
Yes.
Personal work, landscapes, wildlife, just you name it. Interesting stuff I see. And I feel like my personal Instagram, I've got 15 or 1,600 followers, nothing spectacular, but it's not geared towards what we're talking about here at all.
Yeah.
And I almost feel like I need to start a second one from scratch, and that's like horrifying to me.
I thank you for saying it's horrifying. Do you have kids, by the way?
No, I don't.
You're not married. Okay. Have you ever watched kids?
Yeah.
What's easier to watch, one kid or two kids?
Weirdly, I actually think it's two.
No, it's not. You're not babysitting any kids. It's one kid.
When it gets quiet, that's when the problems start.
For sure. No, but the reason I brought it up is like, don't start another Instagram account. Two is hard enough to manage. Just stick to one and just do what you do. Unless you're super. You know what the way to do it is? Keep your 1,500 followers and then go start a personal one that you lock down. That's only for like friends and family that you really care about for the social interactions, right? Yeah. But what's interesting for guys like you that I find is that at some point in time along the journey, you realize the fundamentals of your business, which is you're trading dollars for hours, right? And you can get a little bit better, but you hit a ceiling. You hit a ceiling on what you can charge for those hours. And you realize that significantly limits the revenue potential of your business long term, right? And for some reason, for guys like you, Why are all the cool events always scheduled on the damn holidays you want to offer? You don't want to be working, like it's like the classic like wedding photographer burnout, because it's like, I have not seen my friends in like 40 years because every single solitary weekend I'm gone, right? So
I lived that life from 2009 to 2012.
Yeah. So you realize you need some additional revenue pillars in your business, okay? And you shot a bunch of stuff, and so one of the things that you need to know is that the fine art pillar of your business 100% can be a pillar of your business. You're in a great place to start it, because you have all these people that you've worked with for years and years and years that already know, like, and trust you, but they have no idea that you have anything for sale. And let me tell you, a lot of the purchases are from people that they know. They would rather buy it from someone that they know, like, and trust. Huge deal. Huge deal. So you just have to let people know, and you're going to be cooking with gas right out of the gates. That's great, right? But it's going to take time. It's going to take you 3 to 5 years to get that thing into serious revenue potential. And so once you know that in your head, you give yourself the freedom to grind that process out and get it there while still working the day job to pay the bills. That's number one. Number two, the thing that absolutely infuriates me, okay, is you leave, whether or not you know it, so much of the printing revenue on the table. Usually, like if you're doing the commercial gigs, it gets a little sticky because, how are they printing it out? But depending on what you're doing, and the example that I always use is, I live here in Southern California. I've got a good-sized peer group, a bunch of buddies I've known forever, and my one buddy's wife is the resident portrait photographer. And she's got her spot, and she knows her lighting, and she does it outside, and she gets all the kids like 3-4 times a year: Easter, the holiday, the Christmas cards, the whatever, the this, that, the other. And every single solitary time, number one, she's building an archive of my children. This is the easiest example, but I want to give it to you. What she never does, though, she just constantly is delivering the digital archives. And I'm like, her name's Jess. I'm like, Jess, stop it. Okay, stop it. You need an additional revenue. And when you become the print matter expert, and let me get my stack here because it's better to do show and tell. This whole stack, if it's complete, cost me less than $100. Okay, I think it costs like $110 actually. It's tiny, right? And what I have here are the 5 main media types that you need to have, you need to be able to display, that you might know what it is, but none of your damn customers do. And I'm using a green screen here, so some of these things are going to look a little circusy. You have to just deal with it. But this, a fine art print, textured or non-textured, fine, whatever, okay? You need to have canvas, okay? Ready to hang, a gallery wrapped edge to edge. You need to be able to articulate what that is. You need to be able to show metal, okay, which is, the new hot kid on the block and what's great about metal, and you can zoom in, talk about the texture and everything else. Acrylic, okay, wood. If I'm you, I never go anywhere without this stack, okay? In any point in time, I can capture the print revenue, which nobody wants to deal with. None of your clients understand what the damn differences are here, and if you even get slightly educated, like, with us, we integrate in a complete dropship fashion with either Bay Photo on the West Coast or Graphic Dimensions on the East Coast. They're both huge companies. All the prints, all the printers, all the mediums, all the inks, all the whatever, okay? You can start capturing the orders on print deals, okay? And let's say you cap out at $500 an hour, and that's what you trade $1 an hour for, and you only have so many hours in a day where you can do the retouching and everything else. We need to increase the AOV on those sessions, okay? And one great way to increase the AOV on those sessions is to start adding in the print revenue. And you're not going to get it on every gig, but there's some gigs where they're going to be like, Spencer, can you knock this out for me? I just need to get some stuff printed. No problem. Here it is. Here's the pricing. Do you want to order it? Boom, they order it. And so you have the ability to start capturing some of that. And again, easier on some gigs than it is on others, but it's another additional revenue source. And how many times over all those years and all those gigs have you left money on the table if you would have just taken care of the damn printing for them, right? And especially if you can do it drop ship where you don't even have to be there. You don't even have to physically be in attendance to do it. Like, boom, the order just goes to them. So that's another way to grow the revenue source. So long-winded answer. You need to attempt to start selling the fan art immediately. You need to let people know that it exists. You need to get it up on a website. You need to start posting it on Instagram. You need to order some sample prints and get rocking.
So a related question then, not splitting off a second Instagram, just diving at it. A lot of the people who follow specifically me and like in my world that I'm in, they're just other photographers who are generally not buying their friends' work.
Oh, 100%.
Or
100%.
their colleagues' work.
That is like one of the biggest conundrums of the whole thing. Like, only artists follow me or only photographers follow me. That just sucks. That's just the way it is, and you just have to get past it, and you get past it.
You just get past it.
You just get past it.
The next part is but my website currently is designed that way also, where it's like this is what I sell as my service. Like this is my skill set. I tell stories, etc. When you go and add, oh, here's things that I want to sell now, do people treat your website differently at that point, or do you recommend?
So like, okay, so let me give you an example. So this is one of my buddies, Tim, and he's like crazy accomplished BBC Nat Geo wildlife photographer guy, right? But he's
Very
also
famous gentleman, yes.
but he's also got a whole bunch of stuff going on in the sense that, you know, projects, portfolios, motion, So he's got a commercial portion to his business, kind of like you do, right? So he just puts a tab on his normal website that goes to his store, and that's where he sells his fine art. And that's why I recommend you do it. Just split it. Like, you don't want to mess with a commercial thing, which is, you know, been getting you gigs forever and ever and ever. Enough photos. I haven't seen that one. It's kind of beautiful looking. So you don't want to, you know, you don't want to deal with that. And that's what you would do. You would just split it out. What a cool looking bird. That was brand new. I hadn't seen that. Anyway, so that's how I would do it.
Yeah.
We could certainly help you. You're still young though, which is good. So if you get this thing going
I'm only
now.
37, so I'm not daunted by a lot of this. Time wise.
Time wise or the technology wise. So you'll be good to go on both fronts. You got to just get cooking.
Yeah. Cool. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, Spencer. We can help you. You should get a demo. All right. What else? Is that it? I feel like I've talked myself into circles. We're running too many presentations today. Thank you guys. Appreciate the time. Okay. I hope you come back, especially Everett and Deco, because you know I'm going to pick on you guys again in the future. Okay. For some questions. You guys are not off the hook. You're not off the hook just yet. James, I can't tell. Were you raising your hand? Do you have a question? I think you do. I'm going to unmute you, James. Hold on.
Okay. Yes, I do. I'm just now getting into the NFT thing and tried. I put together four pieces of art, and I flashed them on Facebook. I've had some good feedback on whether or not they are good pieces of art that people would desire. But I am caught up in this maze of the crypto world and trying to get my artwork listed to where people can look at it. If they like it, they can buy it without a whole lot of complications. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. What I would say is, you know, and I'm going to make some assumptions, and you want to shoot them down, you can shoot them down. Are you a huge crypto guy? Do you love crypto? Do you eat, sleep, and breathe?
I just got here.
Yeah.
I just got here.
You got there because it's like gold rush days. Like people are saying like, hey, come on, throw your art on here. It's going to work. Look at these incredible revenue figures that everyone's doing. It doesn't mean it's easy. You have to have a following. Otherwise, you're just going to get in there and it's going to be like anything else. It's going to be crickets, you know?
Plus I got 3 wallets, and the funds are jumping back and forth in between the wallets.
Oh, it's confusing.
But I can't get the funds out of the wallets.
Yeah, it's super confusing. Trust me, I know. I'm like a huge tech nerd. Okay, I bought my first Bitcoin when it was like $22. Okay, that's how long I've been in it. Now, granted, I obviously didn't buy enough of them, and I didn't save enough of them. Okay, otherwise, I wouldn't be on this session. But even for me, I'm a huge nerd. Playing around in crypto for years and years and years, all kinds of different wallets. I bought so many different currencies and so many different exchanges. It confuses me. I don't know how the average person does it. And like anyone that's like a nerd will tell you, like, it's still confusing. So it's still real early days. It's going to be much easier for you to sell the art in a conventional, normal fashion than it is NFTs. So I don't mean to deflate you, but I wouldn't waste time on NFTs unless like you really have a passion and understanding for technology. That would just be my 2 cents.
Okay, well, that's where I'm at right now, and everybody who has seen the art, wow, Jimmy, hey, how can we buy it? And I don't have a clue.
Oh yeah, no. You want to know how they can buy it? Jimmy, let me finish that for you. You take cash, check, PayPal, Venmo, in-person delivery, COD. Okay, no problem. Right. No, not crypto and wallets and websites. Go old school. Man. That's the way we do it.
And this site that I'm on.
Oh, are you on OpenSea or one of the other ones?
Don't know how I've gotten to you. It provides frames. It sets. It's it provides frames to where, hey, if you want it, this is a perfect piece of art for your office or for your man cave or for your cafeteria.
Mm-hmm.
Here's our frames. Select something that you like.
Mm-hmm.
Boom. This is how much it's going to cost you. And like you say, PayPal or whatever, you know, that's something that right now, I wish I was not going through this thing. As you can see, I'm on my back in the hospital.
Yeah, and I'm sorry to hear that. I generally don't like those places.
Broke my leg, and right now I'm in a lot of pain. But
I'm sorry, man.
Right now, I wish I could have somebody stand and say, "Hey, Jimmy, that's a good piece of art. Okay, now forget all the NFTs. Now take that piece of art." See, I already have what they call a copyright, what have you.
Mm-hmm.
That's the one thing NFT did do. It gave me an ID, gave me a copyright for it, that it does belong to me, blah, blah, blah.
Jimmy, if I came to the hospital and picked you up, broken leg and all, carried you on my back to the ATM machine, there's no button on the ATM machine that says you got a copyright or a certificate or anything else. It's not going to help you sell them. It's just going to make more friction into the thing. We got to figure out an easier way for you to get the art to market, and it's not doing NFTs.
Okay. Well, yeah, I will accept that, because, man, I've been running around for 2-3 weeks.
And I don't want you to do anymore. I don't want you to do anymore. It's too confusing, and it's costing you money, which is even worse.
Right. Because I'm paying $15 to get it minted.
I know. The gas fees are insane. So just stay away from that.
It's crazy, man.
Yeah.
Okay. What I'd like to say is, hey, thanks. I don't want to hold up all these other folks that's waiting in line to talk to you.
Yeah, no worries. Well, hey, you get well, all right? You gonna be all right? You gonna get out of there soon, I hope?
I've got about another week in rehab, and then I got in-home rehab that's gonna take months.
Okay. Well, we need to stop with the NFTs, get that art in front of some eyeballs some other ways, and you heal up and get well.
All right then. Hey, thanks. What's your name, man?
Patrick.
Pat. Okay. Hey.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks, Jimmy. And I love it. I love the dedication of coming from the hospital, by the way. Jimmy, Jimmy, he ain't letting it slow you down. You're getting after it, which I appreciate. Good man.
All right, now, thanks.
Thank you. All right, Karen, you're up next. Good, Karen.
Oh, yeah. Hi. How you doing?
Good. How you doing?
I'm good. I have been watching you for about 2-3 years.
What? 2-3 years?
I'm serious. Yes, I have. And it's gonna sound crazy. A lot has been going on, with my life.
For all of us, for sure.
Good things, just like everybody else, though. But I think I found you when the pandemic first started, or something like that. But anyway, I've been doing my art and everything. I mean, I'm set. But the thing is, I thought maybe you were probably out of my budget range.
Mm-hmm.
so I did a Wix site. I did Weebly, and then I went to Wix,
mm-hmm.
and I ended up hiring a professional.
Oh no!
And the money I put out, I was like, I could have went along and just sat in and really received a phone call and actually talked with someone to see exactly what everything would have cost, because I have just spent so much money. And look, I haven't sold one thing. I haven't even I haven't done anything with the site, really. And I don't really like the site. And then the things I wanted, I got to go through another agency to get the art on so people can see what it looks like on a wall.
Yep. I know. None of that's going to help you. That's not the problem. You don't have a website problem. You have a marketing problem. Got to fix that marketing problem.
And you offer those services?
We do. Well, yeah. I mean, you've been on. How many calls have you been on? You probably have a better idea of the services than I do at this point.
I should, because I know you do.
Yeah,
you do. But the thing is that I in my mind, for some reason, I just always thought it was a whole package. And so when I got another site, I was like, well, I've already gotten this. I don't know if I can invest in something else, but I have to do something. So, and the sad part is I was always filling out the form for someone to call me. And I got a new iPhone. I went to the iPhone, but I was one of those other people. I can't think of what the phone I had before, but it was total different operating system, and I did not realize. Man, you won't know for how long. You're gonna think I'm an airhead, but I had my phone would ring, but if it wasn't in my contact list, it wouldn't ring. So I kept missing your calls, and I would be sitting here, and then I'd see a number come up, and I was like, oh no. And man, it was
we actually talked about this earlier today in a meeting, believe it or not. And do you know what we all sort of said is like, does anyone even pick up the phone anymore? I hate phone calls. Everyone hates phone calls. We all want text messages nowadays. You know, Karen, we were all laughing. Somebody said on the call this morning, like, well, if you don't pick up your phone, how are you going to find out whether or not your car warranty is expiring? We need to find out. We need to find out who those car warranty expiring people are, and like literally chain them up, and then everyone gets to throw rotten vegetables at them. Because how many calls have we all gotten about those horrible car warranties? But we're talking about testing text messages because. I feel like it started with the kids. Like the kids never picked up the phone and just did text messages, and now it's finally made its way up to all the rest of us. And it's like all we all want to do now is just not answer the phone ever. Don't call me. Yeah. So.
Well, I am going to contact you again, and I'm just going to go on because I know you offer services, printing, and everything is in your house.
Yep.
So I'm just going to connect with you guys. Because today, I delayed my site with Wix. I was like, I don't know if I want to keep this, but I had put so much money in it when I hired someone to set it up. But I was so unsure. But I'll connect. I'll talk with someone in your business there. And, get advice, get some real-time advice about what I should do to help me decide.
Sounds good. Love it, Karen.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. And thanks for coming on. Appreciate it. I love that you came to a bunch of them too. Like, it's the nice thing about being consistent and showing up, right? Like, I need to be able to have the integrity with my customers when I'm teaching them how to market to say like, look, you got to show up and ship things every day. I run 3 of these things a week. I've been doing it going on almost 2 years now, right? Like, so point is that with all the stuff that we teach you to do in terms of marketing, we ourselves are doing it too. It's the only thing that works. You got to show up and you got to work at it every day. And that's just how it goes. But okay, guys, I really appreciate you. Great session today. Someone was asking about watermarking. You can if you want to. You don't have to if you don't want to. I'll take your question, Tom again. The concept of watermarking is like, and I'm unmuting you if you want to come on. No one is downloading images illegally and going and printing them and blowing them up and making millions of dollars. It just doesn't happen. I mean, the images somewhat get stolen on online occasionally, yeah, but whatever comes of it, not a whole lot. So I personally think, like, look, if you're concerned about it and you want to do the watermark, do the watermark. It's very easy. Our software makes it very easy if you do it with us. But I wouldn't do it personally. I don't think it matters, and you just get on with it. No one's stealing any images, so you don't have to worry about it. But that's how I'd answer that. Hope that helps. All right. Oh yeah, you got no mic or cam. You're all good. Understood. But you can listen. All right, guys. I appreciate you. I'll send you the replay. Hope you all have a great rest of your weeks, and hope to see you either on the inside or a future session. Bye now.